Dawn Mussallem was a survivor of cancer and a heart attack and a lot of other stuff. Okay, so what would you say like the main and trackers, things you actually have to be cognizant about in looking at heart health and potentially like, you know, a heart attack in the future? What are the real ones that we look at? Because it's always like, is it cholesterol? Is it not cholesterol? Is it this? Is it that?
It's a great question and a really important one. And I would say there's Lp(a), which there's a genetic component to that. And you should know your number because it does increase your risk of heart disease substantially.
Nice.
And that's genetic. And that number will be that number. There are ways to move it, which is interesting. But someone should know that number because there's a lot of discussion about ApoB being the end-all, be-all.
Right.
And ApoB, again, is important. But I would say Lp(a), ApoB, and then actually looking at the imaging of hard and soft plaque. You've heard about a calcium score, right? Well, nearly everyone's calcium score at 40 is 0. But if you look at their hard and soft plaque, now you're getting a sense of what does their vasculature actually look like?
Well, that makes a lot of sense to look at it, right?
Yeah. So it's not just one number.
Yeah.
And it's a combination of those. If I were to pick the biggest.
The APO.
Yeah, ApoB, Lp(a), but imaging, meaningful imaging.
Yeah. I mean, that's very valid. I mean, think about the brain. How many times people actually look at their brain? Hardly ever.
And then the next test that I think is really meaningful, if we're talking about blood work, is something called a Gallery test or a Grail test. And that's an early cancer detection test.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you about that. Okay. What is this one for cancer?
It's, so in research, it was called the Grail.
Okay.
But now it's called the Gallery. It's available for people. And it looks at, I think, around 68 different cancers. And we use it a lot in military operators that have been overseas and deployed. That would be a next very important test. And then full body scans. Again, it's not common here. It's more in the biohacking space. But I do believe that at some point that will become the standard of care.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. You think that's interesting on cancer. And I've had a friend who has had a family member going through cancer and has the means to get them the best care. And it just seems like it's almost a one size fits all thing. And I don't know, I'm not talking out of much education around this, but do you almost think there's like, if you have cancer, you just almost have to have somebody with you to guide you along the way to know, because you can't just chemo everything, and it's just not, because that kills everything.
I don't know. I
think there's a lot to be changed in that.
And I think there's a lot of different types of cancers.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's complicated.
Yeah. That's about the best answer you can. It is complicated. I think it feels like, though, almost any of it, and I, once again, could be speaking completely out of my butt, but like can be cured. Ish. Seems like maybe,
I think that we've made a lot of advances. And even from the treatment standpoint, but also what we believe to have been causative. So for example, for the longest time, people believed that testosterone caused prostate cancer.
Jeez.
And for decades, they castrated men because they believed that testosterone caused prostate cancer. And they were wrong.
Jeez.
They were wrong.
They should get refunds on their balls.
They should definitely. I don't think it's going to happen, but for sure. And that becomes, so there's a treatment aspect, but then there's the prevention.
Yeah.
And understanding what things are causative versus what is not.